Following your dreams is one of the most important things you can ever hear in your life. As humans, we all have our dreams, we all have our aspirations, we all have our plans. But at times, life can be so difficult, life can be so tense that you can't seem to figure out what you need to do with your life. You have like 5 things in mind that you want to do, and you are confused on which one to choose from. You are not left alone. Millions of people out there are confused about what they need to do in their life. But one thing is certain. I feel just pick out one thing and follow it through. I remember many years ago, I just felt I was a young dad. My family was just growing. We're a family of 5 in Africa, where basically we might be poor. I felt, let's do something better for these kids. I don't want these kids to grow up here, to grow up the way I grew up, where things were difficult, schools were difficult to go. Basically in Africa, before you go to school, especially if you want to go to a good school, you have to spend lots of money. The public school were nothing to write home about. And even eating is something else. Find it difficult to eat. Find it difficult to drink. No good roads. No power. Everything was just difficult. Deep down in me, I was a new dad. I felt I can't continue with this. And I don't want my kids to come into this suffering. Then the search began. How to leave my country and move to some place much more better, some place much more encouraging, some place who needed me and who needed my expertise. Came into the picture, Canada. I filled all the forms, I did all the things that needed to be done. And it took me years before I even got any response. My wife was even saying, if this thing doesn't work out, let's move on with our life and let's plan something else. But luckily, after 2 years, we finally got a response. I was so excited. We were excited. My kids were still small, but they didn't realize, they didn't know what was this all about. They didn't know what we were so excited. But I tried as much as possible in their own little mind to make them to understand that we are moving to a better place. This is a lovely place. This is where I grew up. I spent decades. But I want to take you to a better place where things will become better for you. And you'll be a much more fulfilled person. They were excited. So how do we go? I said, we are going to take plane, we are going to fly, and we are going to this place. And luckily for them, they had an auntie who was already there. You are going to meet your auntie and her family, and we're just going to have fun all through. They were excited. Finally, we got to Canada, and reality dawned that this was a very different environment. This was a very different place, totally. I was wondering, why did I even leave where I was coming from? And one of the reasons why I thought of that, first, the language barrier. Though we speak English in Nigeria, but the way they spoke here was quite different. I couldn't hear them. They couldn't hear me. Our terms that we use at everyday language was quite different from theirs. In Nigeria, we say electricity, but here they say power. In Nigeria, we say petrol, but here they say gas. And on like that, different words. I was so confused. My kids, they were excited. They were going to new school, meeting new friends. But they go to school, they came back sad. They can't hear us. We can't hear them. They are not my friends. They are not talking to me. I'm all alone. They didn't want to go back. to school. Something that right from the beginning they were so excited to do, but now they were not enjoying it. But I gave them the assurance that over time you get used to it. Over time you get friends and you will love it. I was using that opportunity to encourage myself also because things were so tough. I remember my first paycheck was $90. I looked at it and said, oh my God, how am I going to use $90 to feed my family? How am I going to go about all this? Well, I worked hard. I tried my best. My wife went to school. She worked. I was basically working. I said, okay, you go first so that we rotate on who's going to stay with the kids, who's going to go to school, who's going to work to make it easier for us. It wasn't funny throughout those periods. They want to talk about going out looking for boss. In my own country, Nigeria, where I came from, all you need to do is just stand and call a taxi or just stop a bus. But here, the bus had times, and that was not even the issue. The issue was, am I staying on the southbound side or the northbound side or the southwest bound? That was the most confusing part. Everything looked so similar. I was confused. Am I staying on this side of the road or the other side of the road? It was quite tough for us. But as time went on, gradually we got to adapt. Initially, the food was terrible. I couldn't eat it because I was not used to that. I started eating it, but my mouth was too sugar, so nothing. It was too sweet because that's the way I saw it. Everything was just sweet. I wasn't feeling fine. I remember the first time we saw corn in Nigeria. When it's the corn season, we eat it, we enjoy it. And we went to the store. We said, "Oh, this is corn. Let's eat it." We bought it. We couldn't eat it because it was more or less like a sweet corn. We couldn't eat it. We didn't like it. That was this. It felt so terrible. But we still encourage ourselves that we are not going back home. We are staying here and we are making it here. Over time, we were so excited because our paycheck began to increase. We had got to have more hours. And peer pressure came in. Everybody has, some have 2 jobs, 3 jobs. We saw it as something you need to do. I only had 1 job. I began to feel that, what's wrong with me? Why am I having only a job? I should be able to do 2, 3, 4 jobs. Not knowing that that's killing. But since that was what everybody was doing, we saw it as a normal thing. That then I need to have 2, 3 jobs. Then we began to search for jobs. We got the jobs, more money. We bought our car. I remember our first car was bought for $1,400. During the summer, run smoothly, nice car. But during the winter, it took hours before the heat could come on. We were almost home before the heat finally kicked in. It's a crazy car, but it did the job. And our next car was a new one. And that's how we were growing, because we were determined. We were purposeful that we are here to make a difference, and we will surely make a difference. Over time, we bought our house, got another car, got better cars, ate whatever we wanted to eat. If it means shipping in food from back home, we did that. Our life transformed because we were determined to make it. So just like I say, always follow your dream. Don't be disturbed. Just struggle and forge on. Initially, things might be difficult, things might be hard, but over time, you will get used to it. And one day you look back and say, ooh, I made it. If you like this video, please share, like it. It helps me, it goes a long way. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Until the next one, It's Olurutemi. See you soon.